Well, welcome to today's webinar. Our topic for today, we're going to talk about paper sales. So this is obviously near and dear to our heart. This is what we do: paper sale, lead generation, revenue share for all our customers. We also do a pay per lead, pay per appointment option as well for companies who are just at different stages. So we'll kind of talk to you about the why revenue share, why paper sale, why we went that direction, and so forth. But I wanted to introduce to you Michaella. She's newer to our team in the last 3 months, but Michaella, first off, tell us who you are, where are you in the country, and a little bit just about you.
Yeah, so obviously I'm Michaella. I'm actually located here out of North Idaho. So it's snowy but sunny today. So thankfully we got the sun. We're supposed to snow all weekend, but I will be in Nevada this weekend in the sunshine, in the warm weather. So I am ready for that break. It's been snowing since October over here, so ready for some warm weather. I'm the director of sales here. I just started on, like Sean said, about 3 months ago. Absolutely love it. I've been on both sides of the ball. I've been the person purchasing leads in prior times. Worked for insurance for a long time. Pretty much ran the whole sales department there. Was in charge of all of our leads, so I got to see the consumer side of things and purchasing leads and the pain points there, and now coming over onto this side and being able to see what actually goes into creating the leads and what that looks like, and just being able to offer the rev share option, the paper sale, has been such a cool thing. I wish that it was an option when I was buying leads, because it really does just make such a huge difference, create such a better relationship. So I'm just excited to talk about this, excited to be in this position and ready to roll.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Michaella's been doing awesome in a role here so far. So I'm glad we're a growing team, and Michaella's been a great asset to our team here thus far. So I wanted to start here off with just paper sale and kind of share the why behind what it is, and kind of give you a very, very high level understanding of that. But to do that, I kind of give you the backstory of kind of where our company has gone to. The state of the lead generation industry is that the traditional way you purchase leads from other lead providers or lead aggregators in this space is that you call them up and they go, or most often they call you, right? And they're like, we have a bunch of leads for you, and customers who want new roofs and windows and siding or whatever the project is that you do. And we'll sell them to you. They fill out a form, and that's what you pay for. And we'll just set some specific dollar amount to what that would look like. So they're often paying a set fee for a name and a number of someone who raised their hand at some point for your product. And that's very traditional. So we got into the marketplace and the lead generation space by kind of taking a lead a step further and letting that person book an appointment with our contractor, and then sold an appointment, but we still put a dollar amount on that, and then had to do that. And then we'd have contractors that were mad or that they weren't able to meet with the customer or give them an estimate, and we'd take a return back from them. And we spend all this energy in returns and going back and forth and kind of adversarial relationship between us, the lead generator, who's trying to get a customer who's actually interested in the project, and you, the contractor, who are actually obviously out there running, and your sales team out there on a consistent basis and running those appointments. So this revenue share model, it kind of aligns our interests and our goals, so that we're doing all the marketing side of things, and then we're just kind of plugging it into your company at the end of the day, but we're all winning only when you're actually selling that sale. So Michaella, I'd love it for you to you share with us kind of paper sale versus kind of the paper lead industry. Kind of give us a high level overview of kind of what that is and differentiation.
Yeah, so really the nice thing about paper sale is no two leads are created equal, especially in the digital space. Lead vendors, we can pull information from everywhere: Google Ads, SEO, social media, all these different spaces, and they're not going to be created equal. So charging a set price for each one can create some kind of pain points there. So by doing pay per sale, you're still getting all these same leads, and they're still the same quality. But with pay per sale, you're only having to pay for the ones that you actually make the sale for, which is really great. So really, paper sale versus paper lead, it's just, we're still sending them over to you in the exact same fashion. you're just only having to pay a percentage on the ones that actually close for you. So it really just creates this really good partnership, this really good relationship where all three of us are winning. We're winning, you're winning, and the homeowner's winning.
Yeah. Well, I think the interesting thing about the lead generation industry, I think that you touched on, is when a lead generator has to create a business model around, I'm going to charge you $100 for a lead. It throws out a bunch of really good lead sources that could be really good. And like paying for Google search or things like that, you guys know, if you've done Google paid search or things like that, those are really expensive clicks. Like it could cost $20 for a click, and not like 1 out of 10 of those things convert into an actual, lead. So if that's what you're doing, then I can't sell you a $200 lead and only make $100. But on pay per sale, it might actually make sense, because at the end of the day, you're closing those at twice as often as you would a social media ad, which is somebody who's a little lower intent because they were sitting there scrolling on their phone and then saw your ad, versus actually going on a search and looking for a roofing company or a window company. So it allows us as a marketing company and as a media buyer to be able to use every means necessary to get you leads in the door here as well. So that's just a kind of an additional benefit that is kind of part of that equation as well. So, Michaella, just to kind of pivot into and dive in a little deeper into that, kind of the sources there, kind of explain to us and share with us kind of this, how we get leads. I mean, there's kind of those 3 different buckets that we kind of get leads from and originate leads through.
Yep. So like you said, there's those 3 buckets. First and foremost is we're doing our own sourcing. So we're doing Google ads, we're using SEO, we're doing social media marketing, doing whatever we can to drive traffic to our site to land on our landing pages. Homeowners can actually book appointments with our contractors directly through our landing pages. So that's really bucket 1. Bucket 2 is we do work with over 250 major publishers out there, things like Forbes.com, Bob Vila, This Old House. Those forms that are on their sites that homeowners fill out, we're purchasing those, getting that information in the door. That's really bucket 2. Bucket 3 is we're working with all the major lead aggregators out there. Everybody buys and sells leads from each other. We participate in that. We're purchasing leads from anywhere and everywhere on behalf of our contractors, and then boiling it down to that rev share.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think most people don't know that. I mean, the lead generation industry, you probably already feel this if you're buying leads from third parties, but from other lead aggregators. But everybody buys and sells leads to one another, so it's the only way that the lead generation industry can actually function, because doing a national marketing campaign, you only have contractors who service Toledo, Ohio. But what if somebody comes in Cincinnati and you didn't have a contractor to service them? You try to sell that lead to another lead provider who's got a network that covers Cincinnati. So it's kind of this interesting space in the lead generation industry that we can purchase leads from other lead providers on your behalf and work them and turn them into an appointment and hand them off to you, so you can actually convert that into an appointment. So it increases the volume, but it just uses all the means necessary to get you in front of a customer who's at a stage and looking for an estimate on their project and moving forward with the project. The additional thing with pay per sale that I would say is probably my favorite thing that we do in this equation is that most companies, lead generation is all about it's transactional. I'm going to sell you a lead and you're going to take that lead and I'm going to charge you just for the lead itself. And it's up to you to convert it. Next steps and next stages is that we actually do, book it into an appointment. Michaella, tell us about that kind of appointment process, what that is as well.
Yeah. So obviously we're bringing in all those leads anywhere and everywhere. We have tons coming in, and then we're actually doing a basic pre-screening on them. So I'd say probably 90% of those leads are getting touched through text message. We do have a call center as well. So for those that request a call, we can call them, or if it's a landline, we can call them. And our biggest goal with that is really just engagement. Engagement is a huge pain point across the board with leads, just getting people to actually answer and respond. So that's our main goal. So we're reaching out to them. We're confirming that they're actually interested in the project. We're trying to screen out those free government programs. From there, once we make sure that they're actually interested in the project. We confirm that they are the decision maker. We confirm their address with them. We're just confirming some of the basic details. And then from there, we give them some basic dates and times based on our contractor's availabilities. And then the homeowner actually gets to choose a preferred date and time. From there, we set the expectation with them that it's a preferred date and time. We're sending it over to the contractor, and the contractor is going to be reaching out with a call. So we're doing branding so they know who's calling them, and they're expecting a call to confirm that appointment that we're sending to you. So that from that stage, that's when we send it over to the contractor. It's coming over as that preset appointment. You work it just like you would any other lead, but it's coming in with engagement, which is the big differentiator.
Yeah, I think contact rates in this industry, I mean, that's, if you watched our other webinars here too, that's kind of the biggest issue that we saw back in 2022. And I think we'll continue to see. And we're always working on and trying to improve our processes here too, and improving that. But engagement on leads is really hard when I think the statistic our guest shared last week was like only 22% of people actually pick up an unknown phone number on their phone if it's an unknown phone number. So I think that's going to be a bigger and bigger issue as these carriers kind of crack down on telemarketing calls and all that kind of stuff from a customer experience standpoint. Is that it's going to be harder and harder to get a hold of people over a phone call. And so that's kind of what we're already, like, we've done so much in that space to be able to get engagement, and we're only handing you over a person who's actually engaged and looking for and expecting a phone call from you at that point. So who've already gone to that step of booking an estimate with you. So that's kind of a big piece of it. The other kind of component that we're currently always working on and continue to work on is this rehash process as well. So a lot of companies within the space, will already, if they, miss an appointment, they weren't able to actually demo an appointment, they'll put it into some kind of dialer and rehash campaign to kind of keep calling that periodically. Or if, let's say, you were able to demo and it was a pitch miss and you missed that appointment, you're going to put them into a rehash process. You're going to try to get them back, and have a sales manager go out there and rehash that appointment. But typically those rehash cycles are pretty short overall. So what we do is we have every company do what their current process is, but we kind of act as this third party to kind of help rehash that lead for a long time, up to 2 years after you ever touch that. So they book an appointment. We're going to kind of ask how they're doing, how their experience is with you, and then keep following up, even if they ended up signing a contract with you, that they might make a decision 6 months, 12 months down the road to actually replace the roof. We want to keep you top of mind and help you get back in the door. So that is something else that we do with all of our revenue share customers also. That's a little bit different. But let's talk and kind of pivot over to, the paper sale versus kind of pay per lead or pay per appointment side of things, and kind of the who is a fit and who isn't a fit for pay per sale. So Michaella, I can share kind of a little bit of what kind of the qualifications or what we kind of see the success. And I do want to qualify, like, who is a fit and who isn't a fit is not like you're bad if you're not a fit. It's often it's just a stage of kind of company of what that looks like. You can explain that better than I can.
Yeah, I'll just jump right into it. So really, it's just about making sure that it's going to create the best partnership on both ends. We want to make sure that both parties are happy, and that's really what we mean by best fit. It doesn't mean that you're a bad company, that you can't do it. It just means that we're going to see the best success on both sides of the ball. You're going to be happy. We're going to be happy. It creates a really cohesive partnership. And so typically what we find to be the best fit for the pay per sale model is companies that are in a growth mode. They're trying to grow. They're putting more towards their marketing costs. So they have percentages built into their amounts for that marketing cost and expecting that to come out of each sale. So those are really two key things. Companies that have a call center or dedicated callers so they can have speed to lead. That's hugely important with pay per sale. It's important with all leads, but especially pay per sale. From there, having a CRM system that you can go into, that we can integrate with, really just helping with that process. So companies that, are in that hyper growth mode, they have those marketing costs built in. They have people dedicated specifically for calling and texting those leads outside of their estimators, and just really in that mode where they can take on those leads and afford to kind of front those costs for those leads when they make that sale.
Yeah. Well, I think just to kind of add on to that is that I see companies time and time again that um, they're often really, really good practitioners. They might be actually the best roofer or the best window replacement company in their market, but with online leads, it just takes a different level of, because this person isn't. It's different than a referral. This is different than you were able to, you did John's roof, and now John referred you to his neighbor to do their roof. Like, you already have equity. You already have a brand awareness, and people know who you are. Like, you walk into that, and your sales percentage should be really high. You should close that customer, 9 out of 10 times, right? With an online lead, it's just a totally different animal. Like, they're in shopping mode. They're in different stages of the buying cycle. That's where you kind of get the lead quality. Is like, well, every lead's gonna have a different stage that they're at the buying cycle. Right now, like, some people are just curious, and that curiosity like faded within 5 seconds after filling out the form, and now you get them on the phone, they go, not interested anymore. And then there's other people who are like, I need to get this done tomorrow, but I don't want to just go without anyone, and I don't know you. So you have to do a lot of salesmanship in that. So there's the Dave Yohos of the world, the Grosso Universities of the world, that have the step-by-step selling processes. We find that companies who follow us like a very methodical sales process, who have sales presentations that can take someone from, I don't know who the heck you are, to I want to do business with you and give you all my work ever. Like, the companies who can do that to a lead, that to a random person that they walk up to, or door knocking and able to get a cold lead from 0 to 100. That's the companies who often do better with online leads. So we find like this, like, if you've had success with other lead generators, you'll have success with us. If you haven't had success with other lead generators, we find it's often due to like just not a fit of like, that isn't a good channel for you yet. Like, if you didn't have to go through that channel of getting leads, then it'd be my recommendation that you actually use other channels to try to increase the referrals that you can get until you actually have to. Because some companies, again, you're the best roofer in town, let your word of mouth do your marketing for you, and it's a lot less expensive to do that as well. Because online leads are expensive. So you have to have that, just like Michaella said, you have to have that margin built into your business to be able to do that, and at a scale point where you're able to build the margin in without changing your price structure that you have in place right now. So anytime we have a company who goes, wow, I got to add that much to our, my job cost, like, well, your sales reps just don't want to increase the cost of a job 10%. Just because they have to pay for the lead. It just doesn't work like that. It has to be built into your margins already. So that's the big thing. So again, I'll encourage you guys to keep asking questions as you go in here as well. Noah, you were asking just about kind of when solar sales get paid. So all of our fees are due at when a contract is signed, and when really when that is out of rescission period. So that's when the fees are due. That's when a hired state is done. That's going to be prior in some industries like solar. That's going to be prior to you getting any funding. So most solar companies don't get money until they actually get approval or get permits, but that's just part of the solar industry, is that, you do have to be at a point in business where you can upfront that sales process. We work with, in the solar industry, we work with kind of the top solar companies in the industry. And we actually work with them on paper sale as well. So it is a little bit more tricky for solar, just to be honest, and we work with fewer solar companies probably because of that, but that's just kind of part of that process. And Robert, you had a question, is, are we associated with Modernize? So every other lead provider out there, we work with in some capacity, buying and selling leads to them if we don't have companies or they don't have companies in that side of things. If we always say, always, is that if you're successfully working with any lead generator, or you're using any marketing medium that's working for your business, don't touch them. And we're not here to replace a lead generator. We're not here to replace anybody that you currently have in there. We're here to supplement what's already going on. And I think if anyone tells you you need to use one marketing medium to run your business or one lead generator, I would highly, highly discourage from anyone from doing that. You need a diversified mix to be able to get in the door. But yes, we work with every lead generator out there, buying and selling from that with them. With the exception really of Home Advisor. So they don't sell leads to other lead providers out there, but Modernize is one. So how do you track the sold projects and getting a signed contract? How we track everything is kind of multiple ways. I'll let you answer that question, Michaella.
Yeah, so we actually have a dashboard that we create for you. Everybody has their own dashboard with us. Within that, it's going to have the lead information. It'll have the stage that you're in that you control on your own. You can move it into the hired status when it's sold. There's a spot for you to put the amount that it's sold for. And that actually triggers our system to automatically charge weekly on Fridays based on the ones that were hired out. Kind of jumping into the next question there, how do you verify they're being honest about the number of sales? It all kind of goes together. Our whole system is really ranked on revenue per lead. So however much sales fees you produce for us divided by the amount of leads that we send you, that's going to be how you rank on our platform. Obviously, the better you perform, the higher your RPL, the better you're going to perform on our platform, higher volume you're going to see. So really, being honest is just for you and making sure that you can still get volume. If you're not marking your sales, your revenue per lead is going to look absolutely terrible. And at some point, we're just going to stop sending leads because you're not able to close on any of them. That's how it looks there.
Yep. Yeah. So I love that question. I feel like we get every webinar we've done, we get that question pretty consistently. Yeah, as far as it's a self-policing system, what I've loved about pay per sale is it was this most risky like pivot in our business model to a pay per sale, because we're like, how do we know people are being honest? How do we know people are going to share, like their information, their sales information or their CRMs? And yeah, it has been very surprising. We've been burned a dozen times, so I won't say that there's not dishonest people out there, but I think overall it has been amazing to have the partnerships that we do, because at the end of the day, we all win when we're all working together as a team. So it only benefits you to share with us when you have sales and try to and provide it that as soon as possible, because that gives us it lets us know that we should send more money revenue your way, because we can invest more. So other question we had, what CRM do we feel is best? That is a loaded question right there, because we work with a handful of CRM partners out there. I would say that depending on your stage of business is really the best answer to that question. So there's a lot of different CRMs that are out there, and some work better for certain trades than others. And some work, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish through it. We find that the companies who are at a largest scale, and they are doing marketing attribution down to the tiniest of details, the reporting, all of those things, like it is like using a Salesforce, using Improve with 360 is often the best from like a marketing systems reporting. But honestly, that's way overkill for a smaller business who just needs a project management software to keep their customers in the loop. Because you don't have a Salesforce engineer, or you're not going to pay 10 to 20 hours a month to keep your system up and running. Like every company's at a little bit different stage. No, I had the question, just continuation is if a customer cancels down the road, and let's say you paid a sales fee on a pay per sale, and they canceled down the road, or let's say something fell through, which happens, there's a right to rescission period, but most companies, will honor a cancellation, even all the way up to the day of install. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do. So at the end of the day, there's always clawbacks in that process, and pay per sale, it's built for that. So if you have sales that have been made that turn into, they don't become a net sale, then that's just applied to the next appointments and next sales. We can obviously refund that money, or often most of our companies have an ongoing balance that we just take it out of the next invoice that they pay. So it's an easy enough process on that stuff. So what value do we assign to a lead? That is I mean, the value that we assign to every lead is based on the channel. So we have like general revenue per lead metrics that we require our contractors to be at, to be able to stay on platform, for us to be able to get leads on their behalf. And also we only distribute that lead to a maximum of 3 companies. So if you're the 4th company, you're going to be like, you're not going to get the volume. So we're having conversations with you to help you get more volume. But every channel costs different for us, and then we're gonna judge that kind of accordingly. Here as well. Is there a fee to onboard, or is the only cost pay per sale? I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, there's no upfront fees with pay per sale. There's no hidden fees anywhere. We're very transparent with all of that. The only thing that will be due is if you make the sale, it reaches that net sale status. That's when we take payment.
Mm-hmm. If we have a landing page, I just encourage you to go to contractorappointments.com. That's one of our landing pages. We also have costguide.com. Is another one. So we've got a handful of different landing pages out there. But if you just go to our website, that's honestly, if you go there, all the other ones are pretty much the same, with the exception of like the logo at the top. Average number of leads that we issue to each sale that you see. You want to answer that question? I can dive into it.
Yes, I'm making sure I understand it correctly. So as far as averages across the board, of the appointments that we send, typically about 40 to 60% of those actually demo. And then of the ones that actually demo, about 25% close on average.
Yep. Yeah, it greatly depends on your geographic, footprint, and most importantly, your trade. So, and we always talk about kind of net closing percentages too. So yeah, we're going to send you 10, you'll be able to demo 5 to 6 of those, because you'll have a few in cancellation. And then of those, 20 to 25% of them are going to turn into a net sale at the end of the day. So certain parts of the country, that's, you're only going to close 1 out of 10 into a net sale, because you're going to have a higher credit decline. In other parts of the United States, where credit declines aren't going to happen as often, it'll be more than that. So revenue per lead is dependent on market as well. Any examples of paid display ads? I mean, we can go to really our cost guide Facebook pages, stuff like that here too. Probably see some of our examples of display ads and what we do on that side. I'd say the biggest thing when it comes to like any advertisements that you see out there on windows and stuff, and roofing and siding. One thing we've kind of found in the industry is that obviously with Facebook and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of that free window program, bath program stuff out there. That's a lot of the stuff that we just consistently police on our side of things, because as we buy leads from third-party affiliates, they're trying to get leads for as little as they possibly can to make the most out of them. So it takes a lot of policing on our end of things, because we're getting that lead and screening it for you to make sure that the customer is actually taking is at a stage that they're actually interested in getting an estimate, not something for free. What's our revenue split between contractor and your company? I'll let you handle that one, Michaella.
Yeah, so it really depends on trade. So for roofing, siding, and gutters, we're at 12%. For windows and bath, it's 15%. And then solar's a little bit of a different market. So solar would be $3,500 per sale. Yeah. And then as far as, I saw another question in here, does everybody get the same charge? We do have some variability in there, just to be completely transparent. For the roofing, siding, and gutters, it's anywhere between 10 to 12%. For the windows and bath, it's anywhere between 13 and 15. We always start at the higher end no matter what. And then after about 3 to 4 months, we can look at numbers and we can see if it makes sense to lower it and still get you the volume that you need. So we do have some larger companies, for example, that are on 13% in certain areas. And then some other areas, they actually increase that percentage to try to get more volume in. So going above that 15%.
Yeah. So again, it kind of just goes back to the first question we kind of shared too, is that it's not for everybody. If you're having to add any of that percentage into what you're currently charging a customer and your sales rep is currently in the door, then it's pay per sale is not for you. Honestly, online leads are probably not for you, because It just it costs a lot on the marketing cost to acquire a customer. So that's why a lot of companies are disappointed in online lead generation to begin with, because that's the percentage it takes to be able to get companies in the door, and that's what it takes to get scale here too. We want to be able to, any company we work with, we don't want to send you a few leads a month. We want to be able to get you some volume. So yeah, so I mean, there's definitely companies. Kenny, just to answer your question here, you had asked about, so you haven't seen any companies paying more than 8%. When it comes to online leads, I'll preface with, 15% is a lot. But every company we work with, it's a market. They use a marketing mix. Trade shows, canvassing should be on the low end. It should be 5%, right? 3%, 5% into your marketing cost. But then we're going to be at the higher end of that stuff. So you got to look at your marketing budget and go, if I'm going to do a $10 million in revenue, what's my total marketing spend to get to that point? So you should have it all built into your margins overall as a company. I just don't want you to ever sign up for pay per sale and it to be like, oh my gosh, we don't make any money. Like, this is costing us money. We don't have the money to float this. You should have low cost marketing. You should have referrals coming in the door. You should have Google search campaigns of yourself. You should have Google business listings that are costing you $0 to maintain, and you're getting calls off them. So again, you're trying to be able to get at that 10% mark. Every one of our contractors is trying to get at 10% across the board. I don't care how big you are. But at the end of the day, online lead generation is a channel. That's where you're going to have to be. So regarding the solar fee of $3,500, what if the solar system is small and there isn't $3,500 in revenue on the project? It's a great question. So there is, just like variability in the 12 to 15%, the percentages for roofing and windows, some states we have a little bit of variability. Indiana versus California, just as an example. One of the biggest things, and why we did a flat rate for solar and we didn't for other projects, is that solar, you're going to have averages. You're going to have big systems and you're going to have small systems, but you're also going to have systems that can't get installed without a roof. And you're going to sell them a roof and windows, a roof and, you're going to sell them all these different additional, an HVAC or whatever that is going to be fit into that loan, that energy loan here too. And we're not going to charge you more for a contract fee, because you're often, the higher the ticket is, the higher percentage you're going to pay in dealer fees. So that's why we charge a flat rate on that stuff. It just works much better for solar. You're just going to run into situations where you're going to have, the solar industry has a lot of margin to begin with, but you're going to have some small systems that you just take care of the customer because that's the right thing to do. Again, you're looking at things in the macro and not in the micro. Destiny, you had asked, just you've been in and out here. If you want a meeting, Michaella would be the right person to talk to here as well. Our solar leads that we provide scheduled for our customers and sent to our company to schedule. I'll let you handle that one.
Yeah, so we actually send it over as a preset appointment. So it's a preferred date and time by the customer. You call and confirm that date and time as long as it works for you. And if you guys need to move it, you're more than welcome to. But it does come over as that preferred date and time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a handful of companies that we provide just the raw lead to, and they do the leads and appointment setting. But to be honest, most of our largest customer takes appointments from us. And a big reason for that is we've got our system so dialed in to how to take a lead from a specific source and turn it into an appointment, into an engaged customer, that we do it better than they do. So even with the incurred costs that we have to pay to be able to take a lead and convert it into an appointment, we still earn more revenue per lead. And actually, we all do better at the end of the day. You end up meeting with more customers when we do it. So the appointment side of things, that's one of the biggest kind of the pieces of this equation is we, for every 100 leads, we're going to convert more of them into an appointment than our customers will. In that process. That's why we don't charge for that process, because it actually just benefits everybody at the end of the day. So, and we're always trying to improve that by channel. That's as well. It's just, again, not every lead's the same, or needs to be treated the same. So John, sounds like, you can jump on a phone call and Michaella will reach out to you here too. A couple other just overall questions. Obviously, just reporting on sales and what that looks like. Michaella had mentioned that's all done through our dashboard. But we have also obviously we fully integrate with every CRM system that's out there. There's only a couple that are pretty small we don't work with, that we can't really integrate with because they don't integrate with anything. But getting reports about them as well. Again, full transparency into the process just improves this for everybody. Awesome. That sounds good. Well, I appreciate all of your time here today. If you don't hesitate to reach out, you can always just go to contractorappointments.com. Up in the right-hand corner is the for pros, and you can schedule a call with Michaella anytime. But I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Thursday here. Have a great one.
Thanks, guys.